I think when people think about conversion rate optimization, they're not looking at in chaos, in change, there's always opportunity. In any recession, there's more entrepreneurs that come out from that. Now more than ever, especially going into potential downturn in the market, you're going to have to monetize more of the traffic that you have and do that efficiently and in a way that's cost affordable. And so everyone knows they need landing pages. Everyone knows they need cart upsells. Everyone knows that they need these things. They know their site needs to load fast. But if you're just getting started or you need to do work, but you don't know where to start, conversion rate optimization is not and cannot be binary. People think of it as one thing or the other. It needs to be the whole brand experience on Shopify and beyond.
Imagine having the world's top social creative experts on your team, analyzing your ads, auditing your ad library, and helping you deliver more winning creatives. You don't have to imagine anymore because Motion just launched Expert Agents, AI-powered workflows designed by the industry's best creative strategists. These aren't generic AI tools. Each workflow is built by real performance marketers actively managing high-spending ad accounts. You'll get access to things like Creative Performance Analyzer powered by Dara Denny's framework, which helps you break down what's working and what's not with each of your ads, or Ugly Ad Finder created by Barry Hott, which scans your top spending ads and serves up organic social inspiration so you can make ads that actually stop the scroll, or Scale Unlocker from Jess Bachman, which maps your current ad spend across the awareness stages to pinpoint your biggest growth unlock. Plus, Motion's expert agents include custom tools for social listening, strategic ad iteration, and more, giving your team the insights of a veteran creative strategist at no extra cost. Start shipping more winning ads today at motionapp.com/expert-agents. It's all killer, no filler. I'm Eric, and I'm back with Kyle Hitchcox, one of our first, if not our very first guest here on the All Killer No Filler DTC podcast. Kyle, of course, is the co-founder of Pilothouse, as well as the founder of Warpdrive, the CRO tool that we've built here at the Pilothouse organization. Welcome back, Kyle. How you been?
Good, man. Yeah, stoked to be back. Been busy, but been having a lot of fun these days.
We're on the verge of heading to Shop Talk, which I'm really excited about. This will come out kind of after Shop Talk. I'm getting to interview Kevin O'Leary, which should be a lot of fun, Mr. Wonderful himself. We're going to be doing some other on the show floor type interviews and things like that. You've been doing a little traveling, talking about Warpdrive. How's that been, getting out in front of a new product?
Yeah, it's been really rewarding. It's been cool getting out from behind the scenes of building and operating agency and just connecting and meeting with people that I haven't seen in years, and meeting lots of new people. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. What are you hearing out there? What's the what are the vibes among the D2C folk that you're running into at these events you've been to?
There's the economy concerns and everything else that goes with that. But and actual impact, maybe more so than the worry of the recession that never came a couple years ago. But the established brands, they're not really focusing on it. It doesn't seem like they're just moving forward and optimizing their business as per usual. And generally, I think the sentiment is quite positive. There's still a lot of new stuff being launched. There's still a lot of great brands that are scaling and selling and exiting. There's a lot of news recently with some big brands that are actually exiting for a lot of money.
We're talking Poppy. We're talking Poppy Pepsi.
Poppy's one, the most recent. Absolutely, what a win for them, man. So happy for that team. But yeah, generally, I think people are just moving forward, and in chaos, in change, there's always opportunity. And in any recession, there's more entrepreneurs that come out from that. It's proven time and time again. So yeah, I think we're moving forward strong and united in the DTC space.
Very cool. What are you looking to accomplish? What kind of conversations and what are you looking to do at Shop Talk this week?
Well, I'm going to ride your coattails for one. I know that you're on the floor and you're integrated into the show for the first time. And so I just wanted to be a part of that. But also connecting with clients and just, seeing what's going on with them and helping them, find solutions to problems. And of course, meeting people and talking about post-click. Which is this year's agenda for me.
Why is 2025 the year of post-click?
Oh, really good question. Well, I think now more than ever, especially going into potential downturn in the market, you're going to have to monetize more of the traffic that you have and do that efficiently and in a way that's cost affordable. And so, for those that have heard me talk, it's the same thing. I love post-click to drop your cost to acquire customers, and I just know we do that well. And so I think that's why for 2025, I think brands will need it more than ever.
We love inside baseball here on the All Killer No Filler show. Almost everyone listening to this probably knows what we mean by post-click, and we've talked about it throughout the years. But as someone who's focused on pre-click or advertising, the advertising side of things, whether it's creative or the algorithm, talk to me about exactly what you mean by post-click.
Well, post-click optimization. So anything from your paid traffic or regardless that your customer interacts with, it's just making sure that every piece of that shopping experience drives a conversion through different means. So be it through persuasive copy, be it through cart mechanics, or be it through split testing and optimizing and building customer experiences in an efficient way that drive more sales.
We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but talk to me about how Warpdrive fits into brands' post-click needs.
Maybe more holistically, there's a bunch of different ways to do conversion rate optimization. And so maybe not making it so much about Warpdrive, but more just holistically. There's some important things. And, I think when people think about conversion rate optimization, they're not looking at the whole experience, and different teams are built for different parts of that experience for optimization. So you'll have a brand manager that's, the look and feel of your store or brand. And then you have your marketer who's, coming up with hooks, ad creatives. And then you have, your developers that are working on Shopify, likely driven internally, or you're working with a CRO agency who's doing that work, or you have an internal team, or you're a founder and you're just doing as much as you can yourself. And so, going top down from, say, ad click off Meta down into the conversion on your store, we just have some kind of fundamentals that we look at. And so, the baseline is your store must load in less than 2 seconds. That's just table stakes at this point. If your store doesn't, you're leaving money on the table. And going beyond that too, first impressions, you need to have organic content in the search results, because people are leaving your ads and they're going to look for you, and they might, be buying your competitors or trying to get an understanding of if you're a real business. And so, it goes beyond just a cart optimization. It's a full perception from the customer. And then we break it down like this. You've got 2 seconds to load your store on mobile. You've got 2 to 4 seconds to project professionalism. You need to look real. You need to look like an established company, a brand. You've got 4 to 7 seconds to engage and explain what your product and offer actually is, so that it's easy to understand in that moment, so that they're psychologically more associated and motivated to continue down your path or funnel. 7 to 17 seconds to verify and validate. So does the person that visited your shop actually need what you have, knowing that only 3% of your target market is actually target audience rather is in market to make a transaction or a purchase at any given time? Are you matching your brand benefits to the customer's need in that moment? And then you've got about 17 seconds to about a minute and a half to capture and convert that customer. And so when we're talking about CRO, we're looking at all that stuff. And as you go down that ladder or that funnel, if you fail at any step in that, your bounce rate increases, and you obviously lose that customer opportunity. You might get them later through a retargeting campaign or whatnot, but if you can drive customers down through this idea, you'll be more successful.
It's funny. So I was just on, and they're going to come on the podcast, so I don't mind saying it. But the head of e-commerce from Uniqlo, one of my favorite apparel brands, is going to come on the podcast. And I was just on their site the other day trying to buy some new spring clothes, and they're on the one end of the spectrum where it's like before you can even get to their find the men's shirts or pants, they're making you go through these brand lookbooks. And like the only way to find what you're looking for is to go down and like search or to click into here. And they've made it, they put such an emphasis on the brand and this like brand projection that it's literally a just massive headache to find what I wanted to find. And so you've got that end of the spectrum. And then the other end of the spectrum would be something like ClickFunnels. So like my old marketing heads out there will know, ClickFunnels is just all about just dead simple driving people to the next step kind of thing, which converts way, way better in a lot of cases, but isn't going to give you that brand experience, isn't going to give you even the ability to shop, across a large selection of goods. So how do you think about balancing branding with performance in the post-click experience?
Well, Uniqlo is interesting. I was golfing with my grandpa. I actually was rocking a hoodie I bought there in Tokyo from last year. But funny. I guess, Eric, the first thing is like you are a loyal customer, and so you already know what you want, right? And so you don't want the hassle of going through that lookbook or whatever. So I would say that strategy probably is them trying to bring retail online, having the in-store shopping experience and help. I'm guessing that's what they're doing. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. On the opposite end of that is ClickFunnels. Yeah, I mean, was a very fast-growing tool and promoted very well. Not for brands. The experiences were a little rocky as you went through there as a customer. Great for new product launches and getting started as a new brand, but. Yeah. So the difference there, approaching the two, what we're doing is not for everyone. I wouldn't even try to work with Uniqlo as an example. What we would do is let's find the middle ground, a big blanket as an example, a unique product in the market, lots of demand. We approach it kind of in three ways. It's adding to the existing store and creating stories and storytelling through landing pages and video content and things like that. But the design and feel is all on brand, unlike, say, a ClickFunnels, and then making sure that the basics and fundamentals are done right. So are you starting with the right offer? I think a lot of brands skip that part when they launch a business. They throw a bunch of products into a store. It might be designed well. It might be a great theme or template, loading fast, whatever, but they'll just send traffic to products. They're not thinking about shaping those products into something that's more captivating, that a consumer is likely more willing to purchase. And that captivation piece, I think, is one of the things we're doing alongside landing pages, and also offer shaping, as well as the basic fundamentals, on your purchase mechanics and things like that are table stakes these days.
We just did a podcast a couple weeks ago with Aves about founder stories and how effective they can be. But if you're going to then drive right to a PDP or something that doesn't help you understand the promise of a founder story ad through, if you're going right to the PDP, it's probably going to be a jarring experience. You probably need something in the middle there that, builds on that brand promise that they were given in the ad.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking about this and, simplifying how people listening should work on these things, because everyone knows they need landing pages. Everyone knows they need cart upsells. Everyone knows that they need these things. They know their site needs to load fast. But if you're just getting started or you need to do work, but you don't know where to start, we start closest to the money. So in the cart, get all those fundamentals right. Get your offer and pricing organized well, and make it captivating, and make sure those basic mechanics to increase conversion rates and increase your average order values are dialed. Start there. Secondly, getting closest to the traffic. That's where you get into more of the storytelling. You get into the earlier top of that ladder I just mentioned, where you're projecting professionalism, you're engaging and explaining. Those two things together are a very powerful way to essentially grow your business. And I've been talking with a lot of people lately, and it's the brands that are in the 50 to 150K mark, it seems like, per month in revenue. That seems like one of maybe the second ceiling of growth. And every single one of them knows that it's doing those two things well. They just maybe don't have the bandwidth or capacity to get it done. And, that's kind of where we come in. And then there's an upper echelon of brand that, the 10 to 50 million a year, the appetite for this because they already know that they need to do it. They know they have the resources to get it done, and they know that they just need a good team to do it. And that market for us in the conversations that I have had have been the most interesting and the fastest moving.
So what are people doing? Like when a brand comes to Pilothouse to talk with us, how are they thinking about post-click most often right now?
That's a great question. I mean, if we back out to interest-based lead gen, our funnel of people who come in and actually want to speak with us about performance marketing or growth marketing, about a third or half of the people actually select conversion rate optimization as an interest to have us work with them on. So starting there, that's probably a good metric if you're looking at how many people think that they actually need it, because that's a pretty large sample size. And again, everyone's stage is different. So summarizing, I suppose it's a big topic of interest, and there's a lot of ways to do it. But if you want to expand on that, I might be able to give you some more valuable information.
People think about CRO probably in a bit of a static way sometimes, where it's like, arranging different things above the fold or below the fold, or different button colors or different calls to action. But I think one of the beauties of what we're doing at Pilothouse is it becomes this like much bigger. You're thinking about the full funnel. You're not thinking about like individual things on individual pages. You're thinking about the whole experience from ad all the way to checkout. And there's so many different ways that you can kind of play in that space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that raises a good point. So we have some golden rules. I'll riff one of them now. Golden rule number 2, conversion rate optimization is not and cannot be binary. I think people think of it as one thing or the other, but it is the whole, to your point, the whole shopping experience working together and going beyond, again, just what's on Shopify. It needs to be the whole brand experience on Shopify and beyond, and the storytelling. That's how we think about it, which is not normal, I don't think.
Let's keep going on these golden rules. What first, back up. What's the first golden rule?
Okay, here we go. Without a strong foundation, you will not succeed. Basically meaning that is your store functioning to what the market expects now. That is the baseline. You can't build a house on a broken foundation, and it's the same thing for a DTC brand.
And then how much of that is mobile? I think this is a given at this point. I remember we came up in I don't even know what to say, but in the 2010s when like mobile was just starting. And so mobile optimization was like a bit of an afterthought for a lot of people. But at this point, it's the bulk of the traffic.
It is somewhere between 50 and 70%, depending on target demo and vertical and which platform you're coming off of, for sure. But that happens to be golden rule number 4. So fast load times are non-negotiable on mobile in 2025. And for those listening, go put your site into Google Site Speeds or Pingdom, and you can see how long it actually takes to load. Anything under 2 seconds on mobile, you are burning cash.
Okay, well then I like this. We're doing this in a quantum fashion. Let's go back then to golden rule number 3. What is golden rule number 3?
I covered this earlier, but only 3% of your audience is in market for your product at any given time. And so basically we're signaling that you need to captivate that audience in that moment, because 3% of your visitors hopefully are willing to buy in that moment. If you do your job right, you can capture them.
And then what are we doing with the other 97%?
You're retargeting them, and you're trying to bring them back, and you're filtering out people who you deem as a bad audience through appropriate cookie settings.
Because ideally, that 3%, you're giving them, if they're ready to buy, they're in market, you're giving them the cleanest. You don't put speed bumps on a runway, as they say. So for that 3%, you're trying to get them to the checkout on their product as quickly as possible. But for the other 97%, there is that opportunity to kind of meet them where they're at, and kind of, whether you're giving them a founder story, whether whether it's something else, a sales page that really focuses on brand, whether it's a lookbook because you want people to understand how to put their apparel pieces together. But is that part of the idea, that with that 97%, like that's really where you're trying to do some of the other, content marketing within your funnel?
So you raised a good question there, and that takes us to golden rule number 5.
Nice. I'm keeping track. Okay.
Not all traffic is equal and must be optimized differently. And so if we're talking about that 3%, it's not that you're trying to push that person to cart straight away, depending on the traffic source. So we look at traffic in two groups: high intent, obviously Google Shopping, Google Search, Bing, Amazon. For the most part, it's search keyword based. For social platforms like Pinterest, TikTok, or Meta, Facebook, Instagram, etc., you are trying to convert them in a different way. And so that 3% applies to both traffic sources, but how you funnel them into your cart varies greatly. And so search, get them into the cart as soon as possible. Socials, you need to persuade them. So you're actually trying to slow them down. You're actually trying to inform and educate and persuade, in those first 20 seconds that I mentioned, in contrast to search, where you are trying to get them to the cart as soon as possible.
Well, I think my math tells us we're on golden rule number 6. What's that?
It's a lot easier to get your conversion rates up than it is to decrease your traffic costs. So every media buyer, brand owner, DTC brand every year says, costs are rising on Meta. Costs are rising on Meta. They have their quotas and quarterly targets, and it's our job as post-click experts to help you drop your cost to acquire customers, knowing that your traffic costs likely aren't going to drop anytime soon.
And we're seeing some wonky stuff in market right now. I'm kind of going more from the users that we're bringing in on the D2C side of things, but it's like there is a lot of trepidation in the market right now, I feel like, with tariffs, with all of this stuff going on. And so your traffic costs aren't likely to be coming down. So it really behooves you to make sure that people who are in your funnel are getting the optimum path to purchase.
Yeah. And as a business owner, founder, marketer, agency, whoever, you probably should just be building in your future projections like a 10% increase every year on your traffic costs. It's probably beating inflation, but it's never going to come down. And it's auction based, right? So even if consumers do slow down a bit, hopefully nothing major here coming up, someone else will just fill up that inventory, because as we all know, Meta is the king, I guess, with regards to conversion rates and the right audience to buy DTC products.
All right, golden rule number 7, what is it?
In finale here, your customers don't care how innovative your product is. They care how it makes their lives better. And so as we think about conversion rate optimization, obviously partnering with the right products and people and partners set up for growth is important, but it's our job to explain and persuade customers and tie the benefit of your product to their actual need.
Those are all the golden rules. Talk to me about golden rule number 7 and what that actually looks like in a post-click experience. I don't know if you can give me an example of somewhere where we've really focused on this for a client, but like what does that actually translate to when it comes to building out an effective post-click experience?
It's like it's a demo. Like explaining it over voice probably won't do it justice, but the tool itself allows us to create infinite shopping experiences. And it's all connected, where the customer's going through one or many landing pages with different storytelling. A founder story, as an example, which you referenced earlier, it could be one. And then the second step, we can choose which build offers. So maybe you want to run a bundle builder against a subscription only, against a standard subscribe and save. And then perhaps you want to test and figure out which product is actually generates the most margin for you against your cost of goods. We can do all that in the same experience on the back end with our funnel builder, and we just give one link, and then we optimize those pages and experiences while traffic is coming through live, and you don't have to change anything on your ad platform. So we're optimizing, like you optimize Meta campaigns, we're optimizing the funnel behind that. If you could visualize, and there's no disruption to your traffic. So I hope that's clear, Eric.
Yeah, I think, this goes back to the tool, I forget, it was originally called Rubix, which you guys were running for performance marketing campaigns.
That's right.
For years and years and years at Helmkin. And that was a big differentiator in that ability to, optimize post-click as aggressively as you can optimize pre-click.
Yep, totally. We've been working on this for 6 years, coming up on 7. It's been through 1, 2. This will be the 3rd business now that this tool has been through. It helped us scale our affiliate business, where we made money spending our own money where advertisers would pay us, say, $100. We'd try to spend 80 and we'd make 20. And we did that at scale using the tool. And then we moved that into Pilothouse, which grew from that business. And, there's anywhere from, 40 to 70 active accounts where our media and creative teams are using this tool at any given time to help optimize post-click experiences for Pilothouse's clients. And now Warpdrive taking it out to the world as a separate business, helping brands independent of Pilothouse scale.
We did a podcast. You came on, I guess, I don't know, like 4 weeks ago or something. We talked about this a little bit, and we had then a huge company reach out to us and say, "This is what I need." I kind of wasn't there for those calls. Can you kind of summarize what it was, what resonated with them exactly, and what and what you're kind of talking about building out for them?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll keep it anonymous, but businesses in the 40 million a year range. They have fantastic infrastructure. They're strong marketing leaders and operators. They know what they need. The interest is essentially what I just riffed on. It's the funnel / persuasion / CRO optimization / cart mechanics stuff that we do. They're looking to double or triple their free sample side of the business, where they have a sales team connected to, they're in the house goods space. They have a sales team connected to essentially following up with customers who bought a free sample and just paid for shipping. And then they try to essentially do like a retail style deal over the phone. And so they want to triple or double or triple rather that business. And what we're going to do is build a ton of splash pages, a ton of landers, a ton of content hooks. I'm gonna get my marketing brain in there, and we're just gonna build it out and start split testing everything. We're really excited.
Super cool. And then we've been running this with some of our bigger clients already. You referenced Big Blanket. I know our friends at Four Sigmatic have been part of this as well. Can you give us some anecdotes about some of the wins that you've been able to find, or some of the tests that you've been able to run that have kind of borne fruit for a client?
Yeah, absolutely. We did a headline test recently inside of a listicle, which is 7 reasons to buy X product. Just from that headline test alone. So just literally duping a page that we already know performed against the standard Shopify store. I think that page against the Shopify store had like a 25% lift or something like that as the original test. And so we prioritize traffic to that page, and then we go further. So we just duped that page 8 times, created 8 different headlines that were contrasting, split test all of those in literally, it takes minutes to set up. Run that for a couple of weeks or a week or so, depending on how much traffic. And we found another, I think it was 15.5% gain from that. So I don't know what the actual group shared lift is on that, but within 2-3 weeks, that's pretty sizable for a brand that needs some extra margin. The another thing that came up, I was actually chatting with Big Blanket, and I think it's something like 2,000 pages over 5 years tested, and experiences. That's everything from Black Friday promos through to product drops and whatnot. And there's just been countless gains inside of that. But because of the volume and the time, it's hard to be specific. But the thing that I took away from that was just the flexibility and just the simple idea of having one link that you don't have to change your campaigns and optimize behind to make those changes. That was, with that much testing, those campaigns as a result can keep going, and we can just keep building on founder ideas, things that people want to test. We just continue to find success that way.
Without sacrificing the social proof that you build up on your ads on platform.
Yeah. And you can just keep feeding those winners. You can launch your promos in the same funnel. You can, date switch them out, and there's tons of stuff without, there's tons of stuff. And then the final thing is just being just being able to test different offers. I think, the community doesn't think about offers enough. So subscription only, like I said, versus a bundle builder versus your standard checkout with upsells has been cool.
I was just talking with a subscription brand who's going to be coming on the podcast, and so often I hear brands are, for instance, trying to get people right into subscription right away. This brand discovered it was far better to be doing a one-time purchase and then following up with someone to get them onto subscription. And it's this kind of testing that you can sort of take what you might assume to be the case and really run it against all the different variables to see what actually over a 3-6 month period or whatever actually produces the highest revenues.
Yeah, except you can do it in weeks, not months.
Beautiful. Well, do a little manifestation. Who in our audience needs to be reaching out to you? We're kind of going off a bit of a presentation you put together here, which we can make available in the show notes here, and for anyone that might want to see it. But what who do you want to be reaching out to you?
Brands and agencies. Honestly, I'm just putting myself out there again. Just chat, see what's up. If you want me to build a funnel live on a call, I'll do that for you. No pressure, no strings, no commitment. There's more than enough demand right now for our bandwidth. So we're just going out and chatting with people. So always happy to help too if you just need some advice with your business.
If people want to get in touch and find out more, what do you recommend they do? I know you're starting to be more active on some of the social platforms. Where should people find you?
LinkedIn. Trying to keep it simple, keep it businessy. So yeah, LinkedIn's good. Or you can email me at kyle@pilothouse.co, KYLE @pilothouse.co.
Perfect. And I think this is going to come out after Shop Talk, but I hope we're going to run into a lot of our listeners at Shop Talk. I'm going to be walking around wearing the big blue DTC hat. Hopefully people can recognize my mug, although I'm sure most people just listen to it. So maybe I'll just need to talk a lot and then people will be able to hear my baritone.
Shop Talk. It's called Shop Talk for a reason.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'd be talking. We'd be having a few drinks. We'd be maybe top golfing. What else are we going to do in Las Vegas?
Oh man, I was just there in January. I'm in and out. I'm going to meet some people and bounce. So I'm sure it's going to be a good time.
It's been over a year for me, so I'm going to soak it all in. I'm going to just can't wait for all those. I just love how it's just so dense, so busy. Everyone there is, whether they're deluded or not, is like feels like they're living their best lives or not. And there's just so much going on in Las Vegas. I always have such a fun time there. So come say hi if you see us. And otherwise, we're also going to be, I don't know if you're going to be there, but we'll just say we're also going to be at Grow. The D2C team's going to be at Grow in LA. So if you don't catch us at Shop Talk, then hopefully you can come catch us at Grow in LA. And then we're planning some other things. I think for D2C, this might be the first of many kind of things that we do with Shop Talk, which is really exciting. So you might be able to catch us in Europe, in Chicago, and potentially even in Abu Dhabi at Shop Talk Luxe for their luxury show that they're putting on. I'm just looking for an excuse to get to Abu Dhabi.
I've been there once. It's a beautiful city. It's it is absolutely stunning. Maybe I'll join you there too, Eric.
Perfect place for a luxury show. All right, Kyle. Well, thanks for coming on today. Look forward to checking back in soon on Warpdrive.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're not getting the D2C newsletter, you can subscribe for free at directtoconsumer.co. And if you want to learn more about Pilothouse's all-killer, no-filler services, take off to pilothouse.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.